Well, our guest today is only 21 years old, but he just released his second record, Zeros. Burst onto the music scene when he was only 15 years old with the song Brazil. And the cool part is he's certainly not shied away from writing about serious topics like the environment, politics, and lots more. But the great part is he also likes to have fun, and it's kind of cool to have watched him evolve over the past few years and really become this rock star before our eyes. Especially with these creative videos he's made, the great live stream concert he put together for the album release. Please welcome Declan McKenna. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing well, thanks. How are you doing?
Very good. Congratulations, finally releasing the new record. And I know you did this over a year ago. Looking forward to a May release, but then everything just stopped. What was that like emotionally? Because you're probably all set for this whole course and plan, and then everything just ended. What was that like for you?
Yeah, it was bizarre. I mean, it was kind of there was a good few weeks where we just really didn't know what was going to happen, whether things would return back to normal fairly soon, and the same stuff everyone was kind of experiencing, but it was just supposed to be kind of the busiest and most the thing that everything's building up to sort of time. So it was bizarre figuring that all out, and having a lot of difficult conversations, about sort of pushing the album around and doing stuff that I, as the artist who had worked so long on the music, didn't really want to do, but kind of the time really made it so difficult to release an album normally. So we're lucky we've done it the way we have, and that people have really been so supportive and had the time and space to listen to the album, because that's kind of been the redeeming quality of this time, is that people have had the time to really engage with the music.
You certainly kept busy during the quarantine time, and it felt like every few weeks there was a new song and a new creative video. Where did you do all this stuff? Were you stuck at home putting this whole thing together?
So the funny thing was, we got the Beautiful Faces and Life on Earth videos done Life on Earth was just before lockdown, like
Okay.
literally scraping it. And then we also filmed 4 green screen music videos prior to lockdown. So it kind of looks like that was something I did at home, but it
Okay,
wasn't.
wow. All right.
It was like 4 we shot in a day. So it was the Daniel video, Rapture, Life on Earth lyric videos, and then there was all the stuff I did at home, which was like with my housemates, filming me playing stuff, filming me doing, performances and like little sort of weird recordings of the songs, because, it was kind of the equivalent of doing sessions or doing
Yeah.
gigs or whatever. So we started doing. So it was a mishmash of things, and live streams and stuff started becoming a thing, some point into lockdown. So yeah, it became a lot of work eventually with all of that stuff anyway. It would kind of died off for a bit, and I was like, okay, I guess I'm just writing songs for a while and
Yeah.
chilling out. And then it was like, whoa, I'm working really, really hard now. But it was cool, yeah, it was hard, it was definitely hard work, but we made some really interesting stuff, and it was just trying to get some things out there, trying to keep people interested and do something fun, and
You did a great
yeah,
job with
make
it.
the most of the
You,
time.
you really did a terrific job getting everything out. And kind of it was nice. It kind of got through because there was not much going on, as everyone knows. So it was nice to get something new from you every couple of
Yeah.
weeks, it felt like. This album you recorded with producer Jay Joyce. How'd you guys meet? And I guess I wanted to ask about the studio because it is built in an old church. What was it like recording there?
Yeah, so Jay Joyce, I found listening to Melophobia, one of the records he produced by Cage the Elephant, and hadn't heard the name really. It kind of rung a bell, and managed to find that we'd sort of had a few mutual people that we'd worked with, and just was able to get in contact. And he loved the record or the demos and things, so we just got on the phone, and like we got on straight away. Like, he's such a cool creative guy, and yeah, he has his studio in Nashville, which is really cool, really freeing to be in. Just everything I could possibly want to play on was there. Every guitar, every the mellotron and the synths and all of that stuff that I wanted to mess around with when I'm in a studio. It was just a really cool environment, and very fast paced, and very just like creative, just constantly bouncing. And it was great working with him. Yeah.
What was it like recording so far away from home? I think you did it over a period of 5 weeks because it's got to be
Yeah.
very different, Nashville, from where you are now.
Mhm. Yeah, it's very different. It's bigger. It's more spacious. America generally for me is a big place, and it felt like that. It felt very free. It felt like we had some friends in Nashville from touring. It's quite a hub, for those kinds of people. So it was nice, because it was just like being able to be really engrossed in the record and not being worried about all the normal being at home stuff, and then also just kind of having a bit of a social life and being able to completely, separate ourselves from it as well. And it was like a nice balance where we could kind of either be, you know, completely just lost in some fields, or we could be, you know, hanging with some friends, just chilling in the evenings, or we could be in the studio, you know.
Yeah,
It
great
was a
atmosphere.
nice balance, a
Too. Yeah.
nice work balance, because it's like you can really overdo it, but we kept the days short on purpose, and we kept things fast paced on purpose, because that's when, you know, when you get into the sort of really heady overthinking recording, it's just like that's when you make the worst decisions, I think.
Well, it sounds great. Congratulations on this record. I've been a fan actually since I saw you perform. I think it was one of your first shows in the States. It was at Rockwood Music Hall in the city. And this was, I want to say, 2016. And what was really impressive was here's this kid by himself on stage doing it all. And you were constantly moving things around, guitars and pedal, everything. And it was incredibly impressive. So it was a great performance. But then I thought, like, what is it like to be this kid coming over to America? And what I saw, it was an industry thing. So you saw a lot of people take you aside and give you advice. And I remember thinking,
Yeah.
what must this be like for you? Because it was kind of the start of everything. What would you tell your 16-year-old self if you look back on that when you're being taken aside after a gig and you just want to get something to eat, but yet they're trying to give you life advice and music? What is that like?
Yeah, it is strange. It is a strange time. There's a lot of that, you know, because in the music world, everyone kind of does. I mean, in most industries,
Yeah.
but you kind of think they have some idea of the right way to do things. And I think the thing I would say is to kind of trust yourself more, and actually you don't have to spend all your time listening to people who tell you what to do, because it's like they don't know as much as they say they do. And there's certain people you should listen to and learn from.
Yeah.
And it's just, I think, you know, when you're with those people,
Yes.
is the important thing to remember. Just trust yourself, because it was a great time. It was just a whirlwind. And yeah, as I say, like, you know, the only things you regret is when you take advice from people who you shouldn't really be listening to, because anyone can give you advice, especially if they're older and they, you know, people see you're 17, some guy on the internet's like, you should be playing your guitar like this.
Yeah.
Why have you got tape on your guitar? Like,
That's one of the things I respect about you the most, is that you are unabashedly yourself, Declan. And that authenticity comes through. And I think it's an interesting thing to see, because I'm kind of in that middle range of, I'm a little bit older, but I see both sides of it because I work with another. And it's interesting to see how, well, you just said that everyone's got this way that they have to do it, but you're kind of formulating your own way. And I've seen that on your social media. You connect incredibly well with your fans. And it's something that I think is your authenticity shines through. So I just wanted to tell you that. But also ask you too, because you commented a little bit on this new record, Beautiful Faces, some other tracks. You address social media and its effect on your generation. How do you balance your interaction with the fans and try to kind of keep yourself sane and not let it get too high or too low?
Yeah, of course. I mean, you want to respect your fans. You want to be able to engage with people, but at the same time, it's like, it's not, you can't have the same relationship with your fans that they have with you, and that's the truth. And like, you have to just know your limits and know how your life actually is very different from what it is online, and that knowing to separate yourself is just important. Just having boundaries from it. And I think I've learned more and more that, you know, don't have to respond to people. I don't have to do this or that. It's like nice to do, to respond and whatever in, you know, with fans and interact with people, and, you know, when it feels good, but when it doesn't, it's like, it's a lot to take on for one person, and you have to be aware of that. And yeah, I think, you know, most of my fans understand that, because I kind of say it a lot. Like, I do, if someone's sort of overstepping a boundary, like, I think I've got more comfortable with being like, I'm one human being, and you need to not like take me as this paragon of morality or anything like that. I just kind of have to look after myself sometimes. So I think people generally understand that.
And you're learning as you go. You do have a very powerful voice and a platform, and especially with the first record, but also with this one, it's a little bit different. Tell me about this new record. There's clearly a lot of different influences, from Bowie to Queen, the Beatles, others. What was your goal when you started putting this album together?
I mean, the goal changed a lot, but I think initially it was just about expanding my songwriting. You know, I figured out, I guess maybe when I was making a song like Humongous, that I really liked stitching parts together, that I really liked, you know, listening to albums like The Age of Art, Sufjan Stevens, where the songs go on these incredible tangents. And I wanted to do a little more of that, you know, within my own sort of confines, within what I was confident doing. But I knew I just wanted to expand and wanted to think more about the sonic world and think more about how I was trying to present myself as an artist, because you kind of spend that little bit of time after the record comes out looking back on it and being like, oh, would I do this differently? And
Yeah.
just made me sort of realize myself as an artist more. So I think in the simplest way, it was about expanding, and there was a lot of sort of glammy records that were doing that for me, and then some more modern stuff, the St. Vincent's and Sufjan Stevens, and you know, even some amazing hip hop records that have been out in the last few years are really inspiring in terms of a full record. You know, Kendrick Lamar's stuff and Vince Staples, and like stuff that just really does sort of push the sounds to the limits, and stuff that's quite you know, intense feeling and really in your face. And I was just kind of combining all of these things really, and trying things out. It was like, you know, learning to write in a different environment. I'd moved away from home and learning to write in a new way. It was cool. You know, I was combining all of those things.
This record is a little bit, there's a lot of different sounds in it, and there's a lot of, and I think it sounds like you got the first record not out of the way, but you said what you needed to, but then it was like, let's play a little bit, let's have some fun and see what we can come up with. And it certainly does come through in this. One of my favorite songs that does a lot of that was The Key to Life on Earth. How did the video collaboration with Alex Lawther come about? Because there is unmistakably a resemblance there.
Yeah. Well, we did. The two of us really had seen, you know, comments about us and our likeness, and Alex had actually had people come up to him in the street and say they'd like been to his show. And
what?
So I just managed to get in contact through a friend of a friend. I mean, sort of near enough London around area people, so we were able to kind of find a connection, and got his number and got talking and went for coffee and just kind of were chatting, and yeah, got on really well. We were into a lot of the same stuff, a lot of the same movements, and you know, same art and stuff, and we just. He kind of knew that I was keen to make a music video with him, but it was more about just like initially getting to know people, because I think you're working with your friends, when you're working with people who you get what they're trying to do really well, it's great. And I think that's, yeah, what we ended up doing was just something that felt quite natural, working with Will, who I'd done most of the music videos with on this album, and it was really, really cool. It sort of came about quite naturally that way. He was really into the idea, and when we were there on the day as well, it was like, you know, a deep, but, you know, it'd been considered, but it was a fairly easy concept to play with, and we were kind of free to, you know, explore what, you know, our interactions together and just have fun with it. And that was what was so nice about having a sort of co-star in the video, as we were just bouncing off each other. And he's an incredible actor, you know.
It seemed like you had a lot of fun with it. This record's been finished for over a year. I'd imagine you're already formulating your next project. Do you know where you want to go next musically?
I'd like to produce it myself.
All right,
really. I feel more confident with that, so I'm gonna have a go at that once after this week, really, and start writing some more stuff. And you know, obviously, I'll keep collaborating with other producers and other things like that, but I just think there's a little flavour to my music which hasn't really fully come out. The choppy sort of lo-fi production that I started out doing, that I kind of pushed aside because it wasn't that strong sounding, I feel like I could kind of nail now. So yeah, that's the main thing in my head for the next one.
You spent a lot of time in America, and as we wrap up here, what was one thing that really stood out as the difference between the UK during your travels over here?
The food is very different. I find the food just tastes incredibly different in America, and I can never put my finger on it. Like something salty, and I'm like, it's salty, but it's...
There's a lot of salt.
Yeah.
I feel like you did the same thing about over there for us. We're like, that's something different. And
you're like, that's too sweet. Oh, that's not sweet at all.
New York, because New York obviously is the best. That's where we're from. But is there a city that stuck out to you as far as your favorite that you want to go back to?
What, just a place in general?
Yeah, when you were traveling in the U.S.?
No, there's a lot of places. I love Atlanta. I was really drawn to there the times I've been there. I think that's a beautiful part of the world. And Austin. I like those little, you know, the South is so beautiful, and I just love those little creative hubs there that are really, really nice places to be. So when you find those spots in the South, it's super fun. And there's some really nice places and really nice, you know, places to eat. And yeah, I don't know. I always get a good sort of feeling being in sort of Atlanta, I guess, is the place that I always think of.
Well, hopefully you can get back on the road again. Thank you, Declan, very much. The album Zeros is out now. Good luck with everything, and we do hope to see you on the road again on this side of the pond
Oh,
sooner than
absolutely.
later. Thank you so much for your time.
Quite.
Congrats with
Thanks so
everything.
much. I'll see you soon, I hope.